Okay, so for 9.4, like I was saying, you have 2 or more steps on your transformations. So first, we want to identify which shape was our original. So how do I figure that out? So I want to go look at the letters and find the set that has no tick marks, like the primes. So which one does not have primes on the letters? Right, so that's going to be my first shape. That's my original. And then my second shape is the one with 1 prime. And then my third shape is the one with 2 primes. Okay? Questions about how I figured that out? Does everyone know how I figured out which one was first, second, third shape? We get on that? Okay. So, then we're going to have 2 steps. Right? Because there's 2 different transformations that were done. So, step 1 is what happened to go from figure 1 to figure 2. Was that a translation, a rotation, or a reflection? So, to figure that out, look at the letters. Did the letters, twist around? Okay, but if we look at the letters did not move, right? This was just a slide. Okay? So this was a translation. Okay, the letters did not rotate around or switch positions. They're still in the same spot. And then we need to figure out how many to the right it was moved and how many down it was moved. So I'm going to count between A and A prime to figure that out. You could do between B and B prime or C and C prime, doesn't matter. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it moved 5 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, down. So that rule would be X plus, what did I say, 5? So X plus 5 would be 5 to the right, and then down Y minus 4. Questions? Okay, now if we look between shape 2 and 3, what do you guys notice is happening between shape 2 and 3? You see how the letters are now different? Like they're not oriented the same way? Right? So someone said it. So what is this one? Is this a rotation or a reflection? Okay, so it is a reflection. It was flipped. And we want to be a little bit more specific than that. So what line was that shape reflected over? So right here, which is called what? Okay, questions? What questions do you guys have?
Is that all we have to do?
Yeah. Yep, you're just describing it. Okay, so let's do the next one. So start by identifying what's your first shape. So go look at the letters on the shape. Which one does not have any primes? And that's your first shape. Okay, then go find the shape that has 1 prime. So that's going to be this bottom left one. Thank you. And then that leaves that for our third shape. Okay, so then we are going to have 2 steps. Okay, so then just look between shape 1 and 2 and ask yourself, what does that look like? Well, obviously the shape is upside down, so we can eliminate which one? Right. When we just slide figures, they're not flipped upside down. So this has to be a rotation or a reflection. Now, if we're talking reflection, that's going to be pretty tricky. Like, is it that one? You know, like, so what are we thinking? Think reflection? I'm thinking rotation as well. Okay, so let's go with, it is a rotation. But then here's the other tricky part, right? Is it a 90-degree rotation? Is it 180? Or is it 270? So here's how you figure that out. Here's our first shape. If it was 90, it would have only moved over one quadrant. If it was 180, it would move over 2 quadrants. If it was 270, it would be all the way over here. Okay? So it is 180. What? Yeah. All right, then between step 2 and 3, so we're just looking there, was that shape flipped? Well, it doesn't look like it. If this was my line of reflection, right, it didn't, this shape moved up a little bit. So what are we going to go with? Yeah, there's a slide. So this one would be translation. And then you're going to want to go ahead and count how many did it move left or right, and then how many did it move up or down. So just pick between 2 letters, the same letter, obviously. So like I'm going to count between R and R, but you could do Q and Q or P and P. You're going to get the same answer. You should get the same answer. So first we're going to count to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be X plus 6. And then it did go up just 1. So that's going to be Y plus 1. Questions? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you're ready for the next part. Thumbs up, please. Thank you. Haley, are we good? Steven, are you good? Okay. All right, so this next section is the same idea. We have 2 steps, except we are performing the transformation. Okay, so before we do anything, we want to plot our original shape, which is actually just a line on this one. So go ahead and plot C at 1, 2. And D at 5, 4. So this is actually just a line. And go ahead and plot it on the other graph. We're going to use the same shape on the other one. Okay, so number 1, first thing we're doing is a translation, x minus 4, y. So before we do anything, probably just want to ask yourself, what does that mean? Am I moving left or right? Am I moving up or down? So with the x spot, that's always left or right. Since it's minus, that is going to be to the left. And then since there's no number with the y, we don't move it up or down. It just stays where it's at. So the only thing we have to do to this line is move it left 4. So go put your pencil on C and count to the left 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and repeat that for D. So put your pencil on D, count to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And name it C prime and D prime. Okay, any questions about that step? So we just moved it to the left, and then we also have to apply the second step to it, which is a reflection over the x-axis. So here is my x-axis. Okay, but which one am I reflecting? Am I reflecting the original or the second? It's actually the second. Since it's like a, yeah. Unless if it says otherwise, just assume we're just continuing on with each shape in like a progression. So we're going to reflect this new shape. So C prime is 2 away from my line of reflection. So I count 2 away in the opposite direction. And then D is 1, 2, 3, 4 from the x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in the opposite direction. Okay, so we just flip that over that line of reflection. Okay, questions? Okay, number 2. First thing is the translation. There's no number with the x, so nothing is happening left or right, but it does give us y plus 2. So we are going to shift our line up 2 units. So you're going to go to each point and just count up 2. So go to C, 1, 2. Go to D, 1, 2. Okay, and then a reflection over the y-axis. So that y-axis is going to be opposite from the last question. So we're flipping it over that line. So then C is 1 away from the y-axis, so I'm going to count 1 away in the opposite direction from the y-axis. Okay, and D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away from the y-axis. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what questions do you guys have about doing multiple steps? Okay.